Recently, I've covered a lot of higher end, more modern technology on this YouTube channel, which is really not what I'm known for, but it's something that I've been doing regardless, since I've got a lot of that technology in at the moment thanks to my friends. But today I kind of wanted to go back to my roots. This is a gaming computer from 2012, or rather my girlfriend's computer from 2012. And I want to see today, I want to go back, revisit it and see if it's really worth anything in 2020, if it's still usable in 2020, and what kind of performance we can expect from it from games in 2020. I'm going to be going through performance numbers, benchmarking tools, I'm going to talk about the price of things, ages of each part, and really try and delve into the guts of this thing. The reason that it's in my possession at the moment is that really it's been used as a sim rig computer. So I've got some sim racing hardware, some Fanatec gear, I've actually got some Husingveld stuff that's really ready to be put on a new frame, and with that sim rig I've been using Katie's PC as she's been using the Switch and the Xbox One for a lot of things. So I've been using it predominantly for racing games and stuff like that, although it has been used for several other titles in the past like CSGO, Overwatch, Skyrim and Minecraft. And today we're going to kind of go through the benchmarks as well as my personal anecdotal experiences. But before we run those numbers, I want to talk about the individual components. So the four main things are an i5 2400 from Intel, that's running at 3.1 base, 3.4 boost clocks, that's 4 cores, 4 threads, no hyper threading. So overall it's a pretty lower end chip, it's old, there's not much to say other than that really, but we'll get into how that performs a bit later. We've also got 8GB, so 2x4 gig of DDR3 running at 1333 megahertz as kind of value RAM, we didn't put anything special in it. We've then got let me read this off of my notes here, a gigabyte HA65M D2H B3 micro ATX socket 1155 motherboard with a blue PCB. I think it looks kind of cool, kind of a bit retro, even though it's not that old. I think it works pretty well for what it does. You know, it has a couple of USB 3.0 ports on the back of it. It's got SATA 3. As an overall package, it's quite a good motherboard to have, especially as you don't see a lot of 1155 motherboards out there. And then the graphics card is a PNY GTX 660 Ti 2GB, and we'll talk about these prices towards the end, but when it comes to the raw hardware, that's what you've got. Now a lot of the rest of the system has been upgraded to kind of be better in 2020. So we've got a new-ish SATA SSD in there that is 120 gigabytes, very cheap, but it works and it's way better than the original hard drive that was in the system. We've also got a new cooler on there for better thermals and better noise, and we've also got a Corsair entry-level power supply in there for just a little bit more safety and more efficiency. So with those things in mind, it's definitely not, it's in its original form that it was built back in the day, but it's got the creature comforts, the more safety-oriented features of the newer stuff. It's also it's been rehoused a couple of times in a couple of different cases. This one has obviously seen better days based on the big dent in the top of it, but it holds the computer in there fairly well, so we're just going to leave it in there for now. Briefly touching on the price of this thing now, the whole computer as a whole comes to just under £200, about £175, which is, you know, around the same price as an entry-level smartphone these days. So, I mean, that is really rather low for a computer, especially something that can handle gaming. We're going to go through the performance figures, but with that number in mind, I wouldn't expect anything great out of the performance numbers. Anyway, I'm going to let those run now and we'll catch up afterwards. For me, these results are pretty surprising. Remember, this computer is over 5 years old, and even when it was new, it was only really mid-tier. So, you know, a mid-tier system from back then. We've had a lot of system enhancements and kind of jumps, leaps in technology since then. With the, you know, you've got Ryzen 1, Ryzen 3, the 8-core desktop chip that back in the day wasn't even being seen on a high-end desktop platform. Obviously, we've got RTX, the 1080, the 1080 Ti, 700 series, 900 series. There's a lot that's happened since then. We've even moved all the way to DDR4 based on how old it is, and you kind of have to keep reiterating how old it is because it doesn't feel that old when you're using it. When you bring that information into consideration and then also the performance numbers, I mean, it really does surprise a lot of people, and it certainly surprised me when I ran the benchmarks. They all kind of form a 60 FPS or above figure, with one exception being Tomb Raider. But these are all on medium to high settings. Remember, if you turn the settings down a little bit, or take MSAA out of it, you take anti-aliasing out of it altogether, you are going to get higher performance numbers, and that should allow for better esports titles. But the way it's sat right now, I was actually really happy with the way it is, since I'm only running a 60Hz monitor with this anyway. I've been racing competitively in iRacing on it, and although my racing isn't fantastic, I couldn't blame the system. It was running pretty much faultlessly. There were a couple of drops frames here and there, but really not important because they were so few and far between that it didn't affect my performance anyway. I have played Assetto Corsa on this with a few mods. I've also played it in a multiplayer lobby with 5 to 6 other drivers, so it can definitely hold its own there. It's perfectly fine in those scenarios. However, I haven't tried it with the custom launcher and custom shader packs on that. My computer, like with a 1080 Ti and 8700K, can barely do that, so I don't want to push it on a system like this. And Katie has previously used this system for Overwatch, Minecraft, Skyrim, stuff like that, and it's run absolutely fine with no hiccups whatsoever, so there's no reason that you couldn't use this for esports titles or pushing the settings even higher. I would wager that this could do 1080p 144Hz if you brought the settings down on those esports titles. CSGO was already getting 150 on about medium settings, so I think you could actually push the system quite well. Now, you've got to remember that the 2400 isn't unlocked, so you couldn't overclock it, but you could overclock the graphics card. It's not going to give you more frames, but it may give you more frames in the high fidelity settings. It's just maybe not going to allow you to push past 150 FPS, purely because the CPU won't be able to draw so many frames. This is proof that you can go on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree and buy technology and not expect it to be utterly horrible. As I said, this whole system costs £175. The graphics card cost me £50. The CPU, motherboard, RAM combo cost me £50. This is all on eBay. And I get that some people don't like eBay, they don't trust eBay, but you know, everything I tend to buy is off of eBay. The camera that I've been using for almost 2 years now, off eBay. A lot of my lenses off eBay. This microphone actually off eBay. These lights off eBay. Pretty much my entire computer back there, 8700K 1080 Ti included, off eBay. That monitor behind me off eBay. PlayStation, Xbox, everything's just been off eBay, and I really trust it. As long as you're vigilant, as long as you make sure that you're selecting listings that aren't too good to be true, you know, getting an entire computer with an i9 for like £250, obviously that's not going to be real and that's going to be fake, it's going to be a scam. And most of those listings are automatically taken off of eBay because people just report them. You know, as long as you actually take care and you do research, you're going to get a good piece of hardware off of eBay, and it's something that I've been recommending for years and years, but I think it's especially prevalent with PC hardware because you can get some stuff that's maybe 6 months old. It's already dropped an awful lot in pricing. Now, I do want to say, and I have to come back to this, the fact that I'm surprised at the results of the system, because the whole system costs about the same, just a little bit more than a Ryzen 5 3600, which is already a good value CPU, on a discount. So, I mean, that just goes to show how much you can get for your money these days. And that's the PC from 2012. Is it brilliant? No, it's not brilliant, but it's good, and it's going to serve a lot of people really well. It's not going to be something that you can connect your HTC Vive up to. It's not going to be something you can run triple Quad HD displays on, but it's good enough, and it's going to be good enough for a lot of people, including my sim rig, including for Katie, and including anyone who wants to come around and play a few games. With that, I'm going to leave that here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I haven't done many of these, but I do like talking about old computer hardware as well as phones, because I am just as interested in those as I am in smartphones, if not a little bit more so. I'm also fully aware I need another haircut. Anyway, I've been Ryan Thomas. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please do like, dislike, comment and subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. Also check out all of my social media and Patreon link in the video description. I do want to give a shout out to my patrons. You guys have been brilliant, so thank you so much for your continued support. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.